Okay, so here we go again. This story that I'm reading today is called Painted Skies. But before I do that, I'm just going to introduce myself once again. My name is Mrs. Giles, or you can call me Miss Katie. I'm the Indigenous support worker for uh, the public schools, and I'm originally from Fort Chippewa, Alberta. I belong to the Athabasca Chippewa First Nation, and my culture is Dene. And so I just wanted to let you know that I was, in and out of Fort McMurray, raised in Fort Chipewyan. So, like there's three, well, actually, there's two First Nations out there, the Mikisew Cree First Nation and my First Nation. And then there's also the Métis people that are out there as well. But anyways, I thought I'd just share that with you. And also, I'd like to share my room once more to you guys just before we start, before I start. This is the culture room in Thickwood Heights. This is the room that I sit in when I'm here, and I love my room. Um, all the cool things on the wall. Uh, kind of awkward here, trying to move this around. But we've got, yeah, so this is my little room. I've got a lot of books in the back, a lot of First Nation books. And yeah, so, but anyways, let's get started with the story. And it's called Painted Skies. And the illustration in it is so beautiful, as you can see, and how beautiful the Northern Lights are. And we have so much of that here in Fort McMurray and in Fort Chipewyan, because Fort Chip's a little bit more north, that when we get the Northern Lights, we've got so many colors in them as well. It might happen here every once in a while, but more or less just from what I've seen, just a lot of the green Northern Lights. But in Fort Chipewyan and further north, it's got like different colors. It's beautiful. Like you've got like the pinks and purples and the green added. Okay, so we're gonna get started. And this story is called Painted Skies. So I'm gonna put my glasses on for this one because the words are very small. So, okay, Leslie leapt off the steps, all arms and legs like a young caribou trying to keep up with the herd. Whomp! The snow was hard packed, and with only a light layer of fluff, Oli Pika landed beside her, laughing. The girls lay on their backs, their breath forming small frosty clouds. Oops, I guess I should move over a bit more. They swept their arms and legs up and down as if they were ptarmigans trying to get off the ground and fly away. I didn't think there would be so much snow here in October, Leslie said. I'm glad my mom bought me new winter clothes before we moved. A velvety darkness, blacker than the blackest raven, wrapped itself around them. Look, Leslie said, pointing. The sky is green. She closed her eyes tight and opened them again. Then she looked at Olipika, her friend's dark brown eyes open wide. Holding hands, the girls rose. Pink squirrels now flashed with the lime green. Leslie moved closer to Olipika. Huge ribbons waved in the wind. Leslie shivered. The colors consumed more of the sky and glided closer like a silent snowy owl. See how pretty the northern lights are. And that's what they look like in my hometown. When Leslie was afraid, her mother had taught her to whistle. Squeezing Olipika's hand, Leslie took a deep breath, pursed her lips, and started to blow. Stop whistling, Olipika said. They'll hear you. She took off her mitts and quickly moved the fingertips of one hand back and forth across the fingernails of her other hand, making a clicking noise. What will hear me? Leslie asked. Olipika kept rhythmically moving one set of fingernails over the other. Leslie inched steadily back to the house with Olipika behind her. If we move slowly, she thought, whatever's in the sky won't notice us. Oops. The stars twinkled through the green and pink silky sheet that rippled overhead. Leslie felt her heart beat a little faster. Could the sky colors hear her? Would they get close enough to touch her? Some more pretty, beautiful colors. Spirits, Leslie whispered to her friend. Olipika noticed her head. Spirits, she said. Leslie held her breath and stared at the streaks of color change, painted more of the sky, and drifted closer. Should we run back to the house? Leslie whispered to Olipika. We don't have to be afraid as long as you don't whistle again, Olipika said. What kind of spirits are they? Sorry, it's in a different language again. So Asarnik are what we call them, northern lights. Lights? Leslie asked, not spirits? Look closely, said Olipika. Do you see how long the long threads of light follow one after the other? Those are people running. That's what my grandma says. Oh, Leslie said, squinting her eyes. Wow, she whispered. I can see them. These lights are Anarnites. These lights are Anarnite, the spirits of our great-grandparents or friends that have died. They are playing a game with a ball, kind of like soccer, Olipika said. My grandmother told me that if you whistle, the lights will come closer and the ball might hit you on the head. Because these spirits are very strong. They use a big old walrus skull for a ball. Nobody wants to get hit by that ball. If you make clicking sounds with your fingernails, the spirits say no to stay away. Leslie looked up at the sky and smiled as she took off her mittens and clicked her fingernails. They are beautiful, she said. Sometimes green, sometimes red, the night sky dances. Stars peek through satin pink with a wink and a flicker. A wisp of yellow gauze as the sky breathes with light. Splashes of purple and silver gray assail a sheet, a streak, with one great gust gone. And that's the end of the story, but I'm just going to read what Northern Lights. What are Northern Lights? Northern Lights in Inuktitut, or Aurora Borealis, as they are also called, are colored lights that illuminate the night sky if the conditions are right. Auroras are caused by high-speed particles from the sun streaking the gases in the atmosphere. The Earth is a giant magnet which attracts these particles from the sun to its magnetic poles north and south. The gases flow as a result of being hit by the particles. Since the particles are moving, it looks like lights are dancing across the sky. Northern lights cannot be viewed from everywhere. The further north you go in North America, the more likely you are to see these lights. You can also see them in Northern Europe. Your best chance of seeing northern lights is on a clear, moonless night around midnight. So I just wanted to share with you that when I was a little girl, And I lived with my grandparents. My grandparents raised me. And my grandfather used to tell me that not to whistle at the northern lights as well. But he didn't tell me, like he said there were spirits in the sky, but he never told me. Um, like this story told was the little girl said that the ball was going to hit the person on the head if the lights came down too slow. I mean too low. And but anyways, when my grandfather he told me that um, if the northern lights came down close enough to us that the spirits were going to take us away. So, so not to whistle to the northern lights. So that's how I was raised with it. And that's the stories my grandparents would tell me. And so a lot of times, you know, there'd be a whole bunch of us standing outside, a bunch of us kids, and we'd all whistle, and then somebody would say, no, don't whistle. And it was kind of like um, a fun little get together when we watched the Northern Lights. But anyways, this is another great story, Painted Skies, and the illustration in it is very beautiful. So with that, I am done for this story. Thank you.